here we go. Good evening. It's 6:30. I'm going to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of March 21st, 2023. We do have a quorum present. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the March 7th, 2023 meeting. And if there are no corrections or additions, may I have a motion, please?
So moved. Motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Robert, second by Francis. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is a final plat of Vista Villas Edition, lots 23R and 24, Block B on 2.536 acres out of the Henry Turner Survey, abstract number 1249, zoned local commercial. Located at 925 West Ground Grove Road, FM 3040, being a replat of Vista Villas Edition, Lot 23, Block B.
Good evening, Commissioners. The replat of Vista Villas Edition was submitted on February 20th, 2023, and has been reviewed by staff. Staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission disapprove the replat of Vista Villas Edition for the deficiencies listed and delegate to staff the authority to accept and approve the plat once the listed deficiencies are corrected. The approved plat will be brought to the chair for signature. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any concerns or questions for staff? If not, may I have a motion, please?
Move to disapprove the final plat and delegate the staff the ability to accept and approve the final plat once the deficiencies are corrected.
Motion's by Karen.
Second.
Second by Alvin. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is a public hearing. This public hearing is consideration of a zone change request from single-family residential R7.5 district zoning to Old Town Mixed Use 2 district zoning on approximately 0.15 acres out of the J.W. King Survey, abstract number 696, located at 131 Milton Street, as requested by Rita Williams, the property owner.
Good evening, Commissioners. The subject property we're looking at today is 131 Milton Street. It's on the northwest corner of Elm Street and Milton Street intersection. The applicant and property owner is requesting to rezone the property from R75 to Old Town Mixed Use 2. The subject property currently has a single-family home on the property. I'm trying to get the aerial pulled up here. Just a second. But so currently the property has a single-family home on it, as shown here. And the applicant doesn't have any plans to redevelop the property at this time, and is really just looking to open a variety of different uses to be allowed at the property. To the north of the subject property is a single-family home on a property that's zoned office district. To the west is a single-family residential home that's zoned R75, and to the east across Milton Street is a vacant lot zoned Old Town Mixed Use 2. You can see here. The Old Town Mixed Use 2 zoning district is intended to accommodate a wide range of medium and higher density residential and commercial developments, and allows for retail uses, office uses, service uses, duplexes, townhomes, multifamily developments on minimum 1 acre properties, and single family detached homes. The existing zoning at the property allows for the current use of a single family detached home. The Old Town Mixed Use 2 zoning allows the owner to convert the existing structure to a commercial use, increase the density of residential housing, or completely redevelop the site for a permitted use. Staff finds this request consistent with the Old Town Master Plan, which calls for Old Town Mixed Use 2 at this location. The request aligns with the Lewisville 2025 plan, update big moves of Old Town and diverse and thriving neighborhoods. With that, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of the zone change request from residential 7.5 district zoning to Old Town Mixed Use 2 district zoning as requested. If y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Joe. Commissioners, are there any questions for staff on this? Any
The-
concerns?
I have a question. So the property to the left, from my left, is that a R7.5? Is that a single
To the west,
resident?
yeah, R75.
Anybody object? Any of the citizens or neighbors nearby object to this zoning request?
Noticing was done, and we didn't have any
Nothing? Okay.
calls or anything, and no one showed up today to.
Okay.
And that's a church across from it, correct?
Yes, the Shepherd's Church is located right here, south of, across the street from Elm Street.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioners? Okay, at this time I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item, please come forward, sign your name, state your name as well, and we're happy to hear from you. Having no one come forward, I will now close the public hearing. Commissioners, if there's no further discussion, may I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve
Motion
the
by-
zone change.
Motion by Francis,
Second.
second by Robert. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0.
Commissioners, this item will be considered by the City Council on Monday, April the 17th, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m., where they will hold a second public hearing and render a final decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Next item on the agenda is another public hearing. This one is in consideration of a special use permit for automobile sales and leasing on approximately 2.295 acres, legally described as Lot 4A, Block A, Vista Ridge Point Addition, Zone Light Industrial District, located at the southwest corner of the Storage Court and South Stemmons Freeway intersection, as requested by Chris Clark, NCA Partners, on behalf of APD Capital LLC, the property owner.
The applicant, Auto Park Dallas, is requesting a special use permit to develop a showroom and warehouse for sales and leasing of luxury vehicles. Minor auto repairs at the property will be restricted to vehicles owned by the business to prepare them for sale. The Unified Development Code requires a special use permit with all automobile sales and leasing, and supplemental standards are required for vehicle and related uses. The subject property is located at the southwest corner of Storage Court and South Stemmons Freeway and is within the I-35 overlay transition subdistrict. The property is undeveloped as shown here in the aerial. Just a moment. So here what I've got on the screen now within the packet is the site plan that was provided from the applicant. The undeveloped property, currently they are requesting to have 35,000 square foot building. 8,000 square foot of that would be showroom, 5,000 would be used for that minor auto repair, and the remaining would be used, 20,000 square feet would be used for warehouse storage of those cars. This plan also included in the packet just kind of breaks down and shows how they're going to break up the storage of the cars, the auto repairs, and the showroom for those luxury cars. The landscaping plans shows that they're going to be providing a 20-foot buffer with canopy trees spaced 30 foot on center. A 10-foot minimum is required per I-35 overlay standards, and a 15 minimum is required with the supplemental use standards. Solid evergreen shrubbery will be included to screen the parking along the frontage road, which is also required within the I-35 overlay standards. 7 trees will be planted along South Stemmons Freeway, with 11 along Storage Court, and 8 trees will be planted within the parking lot, and they are only required 6. So they are adding a little bit of an increased landscaping throughout the property. This concept plan here shows what they're looking to do. It shows viewpoints from the frontage road on the bottom, and then on the top, the above picture shows from I-35 what they're looking to do. Most importantly, they've got a glass curtain wall they're going to be using, and it's going to be pretty prominent from the frontage road and from I-35. This concept does show that they have a sign and a red glass that they're going to be using there. That is not included with the SUP, and also further off in the distance it shows a pole sign, which will be later talked about in this presentation. But this kind of shows an overall concept of what they're looking to do and what it's going to look like off of the frontage road and off of I-35. So those facades were the northern and eastern facades. So the eastern facade will contain 22,000 square feet of that glass curtain wall that I mentioned, and porcelain tile will be used to make up 48% of that facade. Painted tilt wall will make up the remaining 19%. The northern facade will be 400 square feet of the curtain wall with 28% porcelain tile and 72% painted tilt wall. The western and southern facing facades are not visible from the frontage road and from I-35. The southern facade will mostly contain the painted tilt wall with 97% of it consisting of it, and 120 square feet of that glass curtain wall will be used. The western facade will be 100% painted tilt wall. Auto Park Dallas currently owns 2061 South Stemmons Freeway, where a pole sign is located. They're currently using it right now, and with approval of the SUP, would be taking down that pole sign. So with the approval of this special use permit, they will take it down, and no additional signage is requested at this time. But when they do apply for any signage, they have noted to comply with any City of Lewisville standards in regards to signage. Two alternative standards are being requested with this development. One, to reduce the brick or stone requirement from 80% to 0%, and two, to allow recessed main entry in lieu of the required awning or canopy across the primary entrances. Previously mentioned that porcelain tile that they'll be using will be a substitute for it, but that will be covered in the overlay district board meeting. Further, these elevations just kind of show a little bit more color to the elevations that I previously showed. Right now, they didn't have any colors included with it, as they couldn't provide a physical sample to the staff to approve or deny at this time. So when they do go forward with any permitting and further submittals, that's when colors will be discussed. But this is what they originally had presented to us, and it kind of just gives a better idea of colors rather than just the monotonous gray that they had in the previous. And this shows the same. In summary, Auto Park Dallas is seeking to develop a showroom and warehouse for sales and leasing of luxury vehicles, and is providing enhanced landscaping throughout the property and removing the existing pole sign on the adjacent property. Staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve the special use permit as set forth in the caption above. If you all have any questions, I can answer them.
Commissioners, any questions?
No.
Joe, do we know if they're going to have any pre-owned cars here or just new?
From the applicant is just going to be doing luxury cars, and they'll be contained within the building and within that warehouse within it.
A lot of them will be pre-owned because he does also do vintage cars and
Okay.
specialty cars.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, thank you, Joe.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please come forward, state your name, and sign in, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Having no one come forward, I will now close the public hearing. Commissioners, do we have any discussion on this item? If not, may I have a motion, please?
I'd like to move to approve the special use permit zone change.
Motion by Robert,
Second.
Second by Alvin. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0.
Commissioners, this item will appear on the City Council agenda on Monday, April the 17th, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. The council will hold a second public hearing and render a final decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the final item on the Planning and Zoning Commission tonight is adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
I make a, oh, sorry, Karen.
Motion by Karen.
Jump on.
Yeah, go ahead. Second.
Second by Francis. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned. Following the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, we now have an Overlay District Board meeting. Going to go ahead and call that to order and announce that we do have a quorum present. The first item on the agenda for the Overlay District Board is to consider the minutes of the December 6, 2022 joint meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission and Transportation Board. If there are no additions or corrections to these minutes, may I have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Motion by Robert.
Second.
Second by Alvin. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0. The next item for consideration are the two alternative standards associated with the architectural standards for the Auto Park Dallas, a proposed commercial development on approximately 2.295 acres, legally described as Lot 4A, Block A, Vista Ridge Point Addition, zoned Light Industrial District, located at the southwest corner of Storage Court and South Stemmons Freeway intersection, as requested by Chris Clark, NCA Partners, on behalf of APD Capital LLC, the property owner.
Commissioners, as previously presented, Auto Park Dallas is requesting for two alternative standards as required with the I-35 overlay standards. The first request, A, to reduce the brick or stone requirement from 80% to 0%. The City of Lewisville Unified Development Code I-35 overlay transition subdistrict requires 80% of the facade be brick or stone. The proposed building elevations will utilize a large format porcelain tile as a substitute for the brick or stone requirement. The east facade will consist of 48% porcelain tile and the northern facade consisting of 28%. These facades are visible from I-35. The second request, B, to allow a recessed main entry in lieu of the required awning or canopy across the primary entrance. The City of Lewisville Unified Development Code, I-35 Overlay Transition Subdistrict regulation states all facades with primary entrances into businesses or tenant spaces shall have an awning or canopy which extends beyond the face of the building over an adjacent walkway or sidewalk for a minimum of 50% of the building's applicable facade width. The design of the building is recessed across the entirety of the front facade at a depth between 4 and 15 feet over the entry and adjacent sidewalk. This design shades the walkways as the required awning or canopy would. City staff recommends that the Overlay District Board recommend approval of alternative standards A and B as set forth in the caption above. If you all have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Is the glass frontage, is that what they have in their other stores or shop in Dallas? Are they using glass there as well?
I haven't seen any of the other locations.
Okay.
I know that it is a rather unique design, but it adds, a bit of character along the I-35 frontage in comparison to doing a brick or stone as done throughout and required throughout. So the large format porcelain tile was supported by staff as an alternative to that brick or stone. And I know the glass kind of offers, a site into the building, as they aren't going to be doing any outside storage with the cars or putting any outside of the building.
So looking at just Google Maps and their existing location in Dallas is kind of back in an older warehousing area. And it looks like it's an 80s composite wall building, so it doesn't have a lot of glass.
Okay.
In talking to them, it wasn't really intended that that was meant to be a showroom, like to see from the outside, although I think that's feasible. They indicate that would primarily be office space.
Okay. I just wondered if it was part of their company design or if this was something new
I think
for
this is the
them.
first building that they're constructing themselves.
Okay, okay.
So in your staff's discussions about your recommendation for approval from it going from brick to porcelain tile, can you just give me a little context on why you guys think that's, fits into the I-35 corridor and why that deviation from brick is we should approve?
Well, I think at first they were just proposing a tilt wall for the building, and we had just encouraged them with submittal of the special use permit that they should look to do something like a porcelain tile or something of that nature, other than the tilt wall. As going through this process, they're going to.
And I'll just jump in and say it's porcelain tiles, a material we've used elsewhere in the I-35 overlay. Specifically, I can remember for the Stereotech building, also decided to use a large format tile. The reason being is it does give you a cleaner and more modern aesthetic while still being a higher quality product, especially when you're talking about use on a large format building. With a lot of brick, it can read very heavy and kind of stiff, and the large format tile can help with that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, well, at this time, if there are no further discussion, may I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the two alternative standards.
Motion by Robert,
Second.
second by Karen. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0.
Commissioners, this item will be listed on the City Council agenda on Monday, April 17th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. It will be considered in conjunction with the SUP considered earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next and final item on the agenda is for adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Francis.
Second.
Second by Alvin. Vote now. Motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned.